DJ Michelle, Resistance Chicks coming at you March 8th, 2017 on International Women's Day, and we would like to celebrate the fact that we are women and we continue to be women, and we're going to continue to do the things that we do as women, including bringing you this show.
Trans women, trans men, and gender non-conforming people are not here today because they feel unsafe. They are excluded from our spaces and in the dialogues that we have about gender. We must do better. We must work harder to include them the way that we ask to be included. As our full selves, without harassment, without discrimination and violence. We must work harder to center their voices and to let them lead us. So as long as any of us is unfree, none of us are free.
So they would really like for the here's the thing about this. They want trans women to lead them.
Which means they're men.
They want men to lead them. Is that not the most misogynistic statement you've ever heard? Yeah. Can we get all the trans women out to lead us? Caitlyn Jenner, you want to lead us because you know what? We're just missing a shortage of male testosterone here. So we really feel like deep inside we do want to be led by men, but we want you to look like us and dress like us and just feel like us.
It's kind of like playing dress up.
But we really do want to be led by men.
Right, we want to be led like men, but we want all of the world to look like women.
Oh my gosh. It's my
Because then that way we can still have babies. Like that our article that we did.
Oh my gosh.
Gay men, the trans men are now.
Did you see the one
turning lesbians?
The woman,
where you
did
can
you see
have
the
babies
one
then?
where the woman transitioned, but she didn't take away all of her goods yet, and so she got pregnant with her partner, and then had the baby, and the title was "Man Has Baby," but she's not a man yet. So then she said when she had the baby, then she was going to remove the goods. So it's just like this weird, twisted thing that we have going on here, and and you know what? The rest of us can just sit back and smile because they're going the way of the dinosaurs. You cannot continue to procreate like this. And actually,
what happened to the Shakers?
There was an article in Breitbart today, and I clicked on it. I don't know why I clicked on it. I just did, and then I read some of the comments, and maybe some of you read the article. Let's just put it this way. There's a reason why we have a low birth rate in America. And when you see all of the women out here like this, okay, and the men on the sidelines, and then you've got the men walking with them, here's the thing. Men are attracted to women, and women are attracted to real men, not men who walk in women's marches like feminist crazies, okay? And you know what? When you don't have that attraction anymore, then you don't get babies, okay? And that is one reason why. See, in Muslim countries, they just force things to happen.
Yeah.
They just, and what does it one say? It's really disgusting. Women are for procreation, boys are for pleasure. That's what the Baka Boys thing said. In a normal society, you know why marriage should be between a man and a woman? I know a lot of people want, gay rights and things like this. The reason why you have When Harry Met Sally, the reason why you have, Romeo and Juliet, and the reason why you have Adam and Eve is because they are essentially biologically, spiritually, emotionally opposite. We're not the same. And that's what happens when you have the magnet and you just smack together.
With metal.
And you stay together because there's this chemical, physical, emotional bond that is created. And you stay together usually as a family unit because why? Because children need a mommy and a daddy. They need a stable unit, and they need their moms to love their dads. And you know what? I was going to do some final thoughts. I guess you want to do final thoughts or just...
No, whatever. Okay. Keep going. Run a roll.
Here's the thing. I'm all for women if you feel like you got to do something and you got a calling or something. And I also understand that our mom was a stay-at-home mom until she had to get divorced because my dad was abusive. And then she worked sometimes 2, 3, 4 jobs. It was really hard. Okay, it was hard on us as kids. And I can tell you from growing up in a single parent household with the most loving mom in the entire world, it's better to have a loving father and a loving mother, and you live in a house and you grow up and you're stable. Because you know what? It is true that like 80% of incarcerated kids are from a broken home.
Exactly.
Why? Because you have an instability there. I'm not saying that if you're from a single parent household that you're going to grow up to be a criminal, obviously. Okay?
We ain't criminals.
But do you want your little plant, if you're going to plant a tree, you want to water it and nourish it.
Right.
And make sure it's safe from the elements. And that's what you do with children. And you need a mom and a dad, and quite frankly, you need moms at home. There's a reason why women were designed by God to breastfeed, not to pump and put it in the refrigerator and give it to the daycare worker. I mean, that's just gross.
You mean God didn't design it that way?
I find it that just kind of gross. You know, I just, that's my own personal opinion. But to have somebody else, oh, what is this? Anyways, okay.
That's a whole nother side story.
That's a whole nother side story.
Let me interject here while you gather your thoughts.
Okay.
Listen, the Bible is very clear. God says, and so a lot of you want to know, well, what does the Bible say about this? Even if I don't believe it, I want to know. God says, why did I bring together two as one? That is a physical, emotional, spiritual oneness that you become with that person. Why did I bring together two as one? To bring about a godly seed. It was not for pleasure. Yes, that's a side effect. It was not for comfort. Yes, that's a side effect. It's not for the fact that you just become one with that person and you're happy. Those are great side effects. But the purpose of it is to bring about children. That is why God brings two.
And that's why he made a family.
God designed the family unit exactly the way that it should be. And so, stink bugs?
There's stink bugs all over our house. I don't know if
Don't say it like that.
I don't know if you live in an
in
area
Ohio, we're fighting the army of stink bugs right now.
Sometimes I just let them go. I felt it on my leg. I was like, what is this?
So anyway, on this very serious topic, God created something. It's designed. It's like a car, right? The car comes off of the assembly line the way that the manufacturer designed it, and it is meant to run just that way.
On the farm.
On the farm. But when you go in and you try to mess with it and you try to put like a Ferrari engine inside of a Ford, it's not going to work. It's not going to run.
Would you like to have some words on this Women's March?
Come on, bring them on.
Why
in.
God made 2-1? Why, do you have any...
He actually came up to get some food.
As Jesus said, and so it is written, the two shall become one flesh. Right? And thus shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave his wife and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're talking about the Women's March, and we're talking about these women out there who are demanding all the...
Okay, what's the Cliff's Notes version? How can you fill me in real quick?
Well, I think we told you about it. They've gone crazy. They've gone off the deep end. Okay? So Michelle and I were discussing the roles of a godly family, and we were kind of discussing stay-at-home moms.
And
created to stay at home and here's the thing, in an Islamic country,
yes,
women are seen as less than. But in Christianity, what is Paul say?
Well, funny you should mention that.
Funny I should mention that.
Yeah, because I think that really ties into farming and how it's a really tight-knit core unit. And when I think about my time working on various farms, and we had a ranch in the family when I was a kid, and in the city, it's just like there's so much death around. You know what I mean? It's just kids that just have nothing really to do, and they're not really being fulfilled. And it just reminds me of how anytime Christ healed somebody, he gave them a motive, a directive of what they needed to do in their life. And God doesn't just say, well, just sit there on the edge of the pool. And when I was in the country, it's so fulfilling and it's just so natural. And
These women have been in the city too long. It made them go cuckoo crazy.
So to me, it just, I don't know, it just seems awkward because when I think about the marriage state, to me it just reminds me that God says what he brought together, let no man separate. And I think, God's infinitely more intelligent than we are. He doesn't think as a man thinks.
Right.
And so sometimes in the Bible it's confusing, and I've kind of was running through scriptures today because sometimes we see that God repented from this and turned to that, but it's almost like he has to work through man's faculties or something, because if God says that, what is it in Titus, that God cannot lie, and he does not change, the same yesterday, today, and forever. So God created man and wife, now I'm getting totally derailed, to live on a farm, and when you're in this bond, I think, that's kind of a safety net, because God said that, he created this, need for spouse in Adam, and he said, it's not right for them to be alone, and that's when the work that place comes in, because
that's funny
because it's kind of weird, because God set it up basically so that women are treated like royalty, I'd say, because the man, he's supposed to be out there slaving and toiling, like Jesus washing feet, and
I like that,
and all kinds of stuff,
man's a slave,
and it's just not natural for women to have to go into the workplace and leave their husband, and then I don't know, to me as a man, it would just seem inappropriate or weird to have your wife under the authority of another man.
All this feminist demons are screeching it, and their ears are hurting right now.
Well, do you want to be treated like royalty with palm leaves?
Like Esther?
Yeah, where you're they're fanning you, making sure that you're getting enough air circulation. I mean, here's you like some more grapes. Would you like
That's
some
exactly how
bananas or
Kansas treats
hamburger?
all females.
I mean, so I don't know. It's just the way society is kind of, it's instead of evolution, it's like it's devolving. It's kind of degrading.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
what I was kind of understanding.
People are, when they're in those just godly rules and they're fulfilled, they're happy, and families are raised in the proper, safe manner.
Why did you vote for Matt for president?
Peanut gallery. Well, a lot of people, I think, well, not a lot of people, a couple people wondered, why didn't you vote for Trump? First of all, I would have gladly voted for Trump, but God laid something different on our hearts. We wrote Kansas for president, Farms for Everyone. That was because our faith stepped out in a direction that we knew that our country really needed to change, and corporations couldn't help it. Nothing could fix our country. Our country is most likely, especially if you're watching alternative news, you're going to recognize that we're headed for another economic downturn, and unfortunately there's nothing Trump can do to stop it, and we have to be ready. We have to, like we talked about before, prep. I think there's is there more pink books right here? We have to be ready. We have to be ready all the time, and I really think people need to get back to natural things and making things themselves as much as they can. And so that was why...
You're self-sustaining. Then you're not reliant on the government, the welfare state. And, if anything were to fall apart, you're just relying on on God. And it's not to say that you can't be if you're, someone living in an apartment somewhere. Because, the Israelites, they were slaves in Egypt, and it's only by God's divine hand, His divine providence, that they are set free. But there's something to relying on God, and then you don't have to be in the world so much with unhealthy foods and all that sort of thing.
Well, there's a scripture in the Bible, and I know that some of you can't really go here with us scripturally, and that's okay. But as far as the difference between Islam and Christianity, I don't know if I read it today or yesterday, I was just reading the Bible. There's a scripture that says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life for her. And what we're missing is this disconnect in this fight for the women and the feminism and things like that. We have a whole section of our society who as Milo would say, they want to have it all. And it's funny to hear, and that's why I like Milo, because I can say it, or even you can say it, but Milo's a gay guy, so he's allowed to say it. He's allowed to say that most women want to be at home. Most women actually enjoy cooking and cleaning and taking care of children or people. Michelle and I don't have kids and we're not married yet, but we moved in to take care of our grandma and our disabled uncle. And there's just something innate in females to care for people and to cook for them and make and clean. I mean, it's in us to do it, and it's not a bad thing, but it becomes a bad thing when it's not appreciated. And I know that you and in the Islamic world, the women are oppressed in that area, and so it's like another scripture says, fathers don't cause your children to. What is it? Don't cause children to be angry. What's the scripture?
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
Well, anyways, don't beat your kids. Okay.
The NLV, the New Leah version.
Don't provoke them.
Don't provoke your children to anger.
Thank
That's
you,
exactly what
Valerie.
it is.
And it goes both ways, because we're talking with her grandpa Skippy today, and he's talking about how, in the old days, he used to go out with his shotgun and kill squirrels, and man, that's really good on your biscuits and gravy. That makes really good gravy. And it's just kind of this natural thing where it sounds completely sexist and offensive, but to me it just gives me peace when I think about men doing some of that like hunting stuff, and God put that desire in ladies to take care of children and to cook and clean. It's not that that's all that they do, but
Men would go out west and then they'd send for a bride. Why? Because they found that they couldn't start their homestead and cook and clean and mend and do the washing and doing all these things. And so around like the 60s and 70s, when everything became industrialized,
because there's only so much you can do as one person.
Right.
It's due to all this machinery and
that
stuff
women
that breaks
could
down,
leave,
costs money,
and that costs money. Right, exactly.
So it's like yeah, your wife goes to work because you need some new gadgets,
right?
And then the gadgets keep breaking down because they make things junkier and junkier nowadays.
But
and then it's just this perpetual cycle of slavery.
Very interesting in
servitude to the worldly globalist economy. Because obviously tomatoes and milk from cows isn't going to generate anything for the GDP. So that's why, you see these off-the-grid guys and they hate people collecting rainwater because, God forbid you pray for water and God provides it for you, from the sky, instead of having to pay for someone's water that has poison in it.
Yes.
You were going to say it's very interesting. But no.
Right. Now I can't remember.
All right, well, there you go.
A little bit of something for everyone. We're scatterbrained, we're all over the map, but if you can follow those rabbit trails, then, we pray that you're blessed with this.
Okay, this is Leah, Michelle, and Kansas Matt signing off for Resistance Chicks and Resistance Rooster, where it's
not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications so you can get an email every time we put out a new video. And find us on Facebook. And we'll be back with more. And we love you guys for staying. Wow, that's so great. You guys are awesome.
I was cold all alone. No place for